Hi folks, welcome to the Amazing Education channel. It's a beautiful day, and remember, my videos don't really show that much. It's more about the information. Sorry, it's because I don't have much equipment, so I just got my little phone. So today it's about renting and being a real estate mogul, and you might see a lot of YouTube videos about this, and especially you might see how like you can have millions of dollars of property with almost none of your money. Don't even use your money, just borrow money. Well, yeah, if you can convince other people to invest, that's certainly true. Now, if you are already a real estate agent, you might know something about it, so it could be a wonderful activity, good way to make money if you have a lot of properties, and if you're sort of smart and good dealing with people, good dealing with numbers. Certainly true, you can make millions. You absolutely can. But when I say you, I mean if you are one of those good people that are good with money, good handling contracts and negotiations, and you got to have probably good social intelligence, like a high social IQ and so on and so forth, and also be detail oriented. You can't be lazy. You can't lose track of things, money, and state of your property and so on and so forth. So it's also a good way to lose money. Anytime that you get into a situation where you're borrowing, like getting a mortgage or something like that, first of all, you're paying a lot more. A house that maybe you think it costs, say, $300,000, but you get a long mortgage on it, it might actually cost you $500,000. Now, I'm not saying it's a bad idea. I'm not saying it's a bad deal. Especially, you listen to Robert Kiyosaki, and he makes the point: if you're probably highly educated and very smart, good with money, well connected, you get a property and you have renters maybe already, so that each month you're getting money from the property that pays more than the mortgage. So as long as you can keep it rented, which depends on many factors, including the quality of the property, state of the economy. So if you can keep it rented, then it's always making money. And there's a lot of financial advantages to having property. You can, you can take out depreciation and claim it on your taxes as, a way to reduce your income. And so there are a lot of advantages, especially for large property owners. And the whole country, whole world is property, and a lot of people own property and manage it. But the truth is, probably most people, the vast majority, have just one or two rental properties, and I think it's very difficult to find a good property manager. And even if you have a property manager, you need to manage the property manager, because are they doing a good job? So you still have to be in contact. It might be just as much work having a property manager, but they can take care of the emergency phone calls on the weekends. And so, but during the week, you still might need to check that everything is being done. So it could reduce the amount of work you do. But if you were going to make money in property management or real estate ownership and so on, you probably have to, if you want to make a lot of money, you're probably going to be a very busy person, and you enjoy working a lot, and office work and working with numbers, not just physical labor. And that can be tough on your body when you got to work early in the morning in front of a computer or with your phone, and you're not getting exercise, and you got the stress of money that you owe, especially if you want to make millions. You got to probably risk millions of dollars. And so it can be very stressful. It might be good for somebody who's very disciplined, educated, and is going to do that kind of work anyway. Like if you're already going to do a lot of paperwork and contracts and dealing with money, and you've got the temperament for it, then it's fine. But if you're not into that already, it's a huge risk. And if you ever listen to Dave Ramsey, which if you consider religion to be superstition, which many people do, sort of outdated textbook, he's relying on ancient wisdom, but it's not, wisdom of the ages is not a bad thing, especially when it comes specifically. So I'm not saying I agree with Dave Ramsey, okay, but specifically when he says do not borrow money, I agree with him. That means don't have a credit card. Absolutely, that's absolutely true. Don't get a mortgage unless it's your family home, I think. So you might want to check into what he says about that regarding just a family home. But don't borrow money trying to make money, because guess what? People with a lot more experience and smarts, much more than you, are going to try to tell you how to borrow money and make money. But in the long run, the borrowers have to make good money as well. And it's an easy way to lose everything, go bankrupt, and if you do something really wrong, you could be sued, even if you set it up as a corporation. But nobody's prevented from doing personal lawsuits at any time for whatever reason they want to, and they can try to come after you or just come after you if they've got enough money. And there are so-called professional scammers and people out there who even target people that look wealthy or are wealthy just to sue them and get settlements. It's very expensive. It's an expensive situation. So watch out for that. And just don't borrow money. Don't do it. Don't get a mortgage for rental properties. It's not a good idea. And just be extremely careful. And but on the other hand, you might find yourself that maybe someone in your family passes away and leaves you with a house or an condo, or a house with an apartment attached to it, or you might even want to buy a place and then rent that out. And a lot of times this might interest you. So if you're not a real estate agent, and maybe the people with the most knowledge about real estate don't know this because they have the licenses or certification, but to get insurance on a rental property, yes, a house or whatever it is, if you don't already have renting experience or some kind of property management experience, you can't even get rental insurance. And do you want to be renting a house where it's not insured? So in other words, what I'm saying is the people that are renting the house from you, so the tenants, you're the landlord, they're the tenants. So you have a house and they can live in the house, but if by mistake something happens, that either say they start a fire or by mistake they break something, the house floods or whatever, if you don't have renter's insurance, maybe it's called landlord's insurance, whatever the insuring company calls it, which could be different names. But if you don't have that, your house you don't get compensated. Your house maybe doesn't get fixed or repaired if you don't have the cash. Plus, the people that were living in the house probably can't live there if there's been a fire or bad flood or whatever, mold. And so it needs a lot of reconstruction, renovation, and so on. So you're not making money on it, and you have to pay out of, whatever funds or cash or whatever you have left, pay out of your income, maybe, to repair the house. So I'm saying that's without insurance. And the reason why you can't get insurance is if you don't have previous renting experience. So then it brings up the question, well, if you can't be a landlord without renting experience, because you can't, well, you can, but it's taking a huge risk. Like I said, you just would not have your house insured, and you'd have people living there that don't own the house and don't have the incentive to take care of it. And so it's a huge risk. And yeah, you could sue them. Oh, sure. If you're a lawyer, whatever, you just say, oh, I don't care. I've got a high income or whatever, and so I don't care. I don't want to pay for insurance. So that's fine. That is true. So you're a high income person and you want to do that. But if you're a high income person, believe me, you probably don't want to spend the time to deal with all these problems in the first place. Probably not, but you could probably pay somebody to do it for you. But anyway, if you're just like an average, say you're a young person just trying to make it, trying to earn money, you need to get some kind of property management experience, probably for somebody else, or get a real estate certification, license, whatever, or also property inspection certification. Now that might be the easiest. So being a rental manager at an apartment complex, that could be an easy job to get. But then you got to change what you're doing, and then you get sidetracked. You might have to move. Who knows? Because that might be good. You'd have free housing if you work as a property manager in an apartment building or something like that. But then they will also ask you, okay, what's your experience? So in other words, you have to have some kind of inside background already, probably, to get involved. And so if you're just thinking you want to be a property mogul, well, you know, without the income. Now, if you've got a high income job and you could work that part-time, that's a good way. And also another way is if you have a high income, buy your own house and then rent rooms out of that house. And so yes, you have to have people living in your house. If you have a large enough house, you can get it renovated so that it's separate living spaces, like a basement or some kind of apartment over a large garage or something like that. And you can also make sure that you buy a place that already has a rental aspect, so it has more than one living space that's completely separate. So you do that. It's called a duplex, or just like sometimes an in-law apartment or something like that. You can look for that kind of house, but those are pretty rare. And then you got to be good with people, and you have to, believe me, only use the credit union, not the credit union, the credit agencies like Experian or TransUnion. Only use those huge credit agencies to do the criminal background check and the financial and credit checks. And you absolutely need to do that with whoever's going to rent your place, unless you know this person very well and you've lived with them before and you got along, because you don't want to be living with somebody where they cause a clash with your lifestyle. Maybe you stay up late and they wake up early. It doesn't matter. Maybe you're the noisy person and they're not going to like you. Or maybe they're the noisy person and throwing trash around, whatever it is. So anyway, but that's one way to get into real estate. But it's a lot of work. It's a lot of stress. And so when you see, well, this is how most people get wealthy, is through real estate. Well, that might be true, because real estate is worth a lot of money, and people inherit real estate all the time. As older people pass away, if they haven't sold their house already, it goes to the younger generation very often. And so then you've got property to deal with, and then suddenly, yep, you're wealthy because the property is worth a lot of money. So it happens all the time. But that doesn't mean that people can hold on to it. They can actually lose property by having terrible renters and no skills. So if you're like maybe a not an A student, if you're a B student or below and you think you're going to make a lot of money owning property or inheriting property, if you're not already good with money and not already earning a lot of money, your skills and your people skills might not be up to it. So you might find you're losing money, but then, that's not too bad, because you can sell, and you can always sell the property later. On average, the properties go up about 4% a year. Of course, you have to take care of the property. You have to really take care of it, keep it in good shape. The roof, the foundation, all the important appliances, and the furnace and water and electricity systems need to be in good shape. Maybe air conditioning and so on. They got to be in good working order and not really old, because if you let things get old and out of shape, then the value of the house is going to go down. It even includes the yard. How does the yard look, and so on. So a lot of things to keep in mind, and it's not impossible. If you're good with people and you're friendly, you can go through being a